Part 35. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 341. The restaurant with good wine and good food is unexpectedly popular. Even Lee Zioki and her friends didn't expect that the vegetables they ate here could be comparable to those they ate at Li Chen's house. It's incredible. Boss, we want to order another serving. As Lee Zioki and her friends spoke, many diners looked over. The diners had long noticed the existence of Lee Zioki. After all, she is a national-level female anchor. She is kind and down-to-earth. The key is that she doesn't look bad in real life. Diamond sued. However, almost all those who can eat here have very good quality and cultivation. Even seeing this national-level anchor, they are only slightly surprised and happy. However, when seeing Lee Zioki and others' sincere love for the vegetables here, these diners couldn't help but become curious. When they come here, they almost never order such home-cooked side dishes. Each hotel has its own characteristics. If you want to eat home-cooked dishes, you can go to a special home-cooked restaurant. However, they know better that Lee Zioki is not the kind of person who deliberately messes up the place, so it can only mean that the vegetables here are more delicious. So, boss, we also want to add dishes. Boss, we need to add some vegetables. What other vegetable varieties are there? For a while, the whole restaurant began to shout. Cai Zhongming was dumbfounded. On weekdays, vegetables are not so popular at all. What happened today? But he didn't bother to think about it, and quickly ordered the kitchen to start cooking vegetables. Boss, boss. What's wrong? Cai Zhongming said a little annoyed. There's a quarrel outside. How is it possible? Cai Zhongming exclaimed, why is there a quarrel? It's because of vegetables. After hearing this, Cai Zhongming got a little angry. It was this group of customers who wanted vegetables, and now it was these customers who quarreled because of vegetables. Cai Zhongming followed the waiter and could only walk quickly to the lobby. At this moment, the lobby was very noisy. Many people showed dissatisfaction. Excuse me, everyone, I am Cai Zhongming. As the owner of the restaurant came out in person, the situation in the lobby became a little quieter. I wonder if you have any dissatisfaction. What do you mean by this dish? A guest pointed to the vegetables on the table and said. Cai Zhongming was a little confused and asked cautiously, can you explain it more clearly? The guest also laughed angrily and said, we have tasted the vegetables ordered by my friends just now. They are very delicious. Why are the vegetables served to us so unpalatable? Can't your restaurant afford this business? What do you mean by very delicious and unpalatable? What are you talking about? Cai Zhongming felt that he was in a big head. Cai Zhongming looked at everyone and said, can I taste it? Yes. Cai Zhongming took out the chopsticks he used and took a bite of the vegetables that were served later. He felt very regular and there was nothing wrong with it. When he picked up the vegetables that were served earlier, he was dumbfounded. After eating a few bites, Cai Zhongming finally understood why these guests were making a fuss. After eating the vegetables that were served earlier, thinking about the vegetables that were served later, they were really not even as good as a pile of shit. The gap was too big. Please wait a moment, I will deal with it immediately. Cai Zhongming turned and rushed into the back kitchen. He put 2 bowls of different dishes on the table, his face was terribly gloomy. What's going on? Why are they all vegetables, but there are 2 completely different tastes? The boss was angry, and everyone was silent, not daring to speak. Speak up, can this dish still change its taste? Cai Zhongming slammed the table. Now that so many people are dissatisfied, if it is not handled well today, it will really be over. Boss, we all follow this craftsmanship and procedures, there is really no problem, the chef said. No problem, Cai Zhongming said angrily, then come and try it to see if the problem is serious. These chefs don't believe in evil either. Aren't they all vegetables? Could there be a huge difference? So, the chefs tasted the first vegetables served, and everyone's expressions brightened up after eating them. But when they ate the second kind of vegetables, they spat them out. What kind of rubbish is this? Boss, we dare to swear with our whole family that we are absolutely not messing around, but we really don't know, the same vegetables sent by the Zheng family, how can there be a difference? At this point, the chefs were suddenly stunned. Say, why don't you say it? Cai Zhongming sneered. Now you realize that you have done something wrong? Boss, I know where the problem lies, the chef just now said. Did you forget that today's vegetables are not only from the Zheng family, but also Yuan family? Cai Zhongming's face froze. Do you think I'm stupid? But after saying this, Cai Zhongming's face changed. Because he also remembered that Yuan Chenjian, the young master of the Yuan family, came to deliver the dishes in person, and there were not many dishes. In addition, the Zheng family delivered late today, so the first vegetables served were the vegetables of the Yuan family. In the past, when Zheng's vegetables were there, no one said they were delicious. But today was the only time the Yuan family's food came, and so many people said it was delicious. Moreover, they also tasted it themselves just now, and the taste and texture really beat Zheng's vegetables. Cai Zhongming's eyes showed shock. Is it really, the Yuan family? In fact, he already knew that these were Yuan's vegetables. You guys calm down first, I'll call the Yuan family right away. Feng's garden. Boss, what's going on? Can these vegetables still be cooked? Okay, please wait a moment. The boss of Feng Jiwen was wiping cold sweat. He really saw a ghost today. How come everyone has changed to vegetarianism? Have you checked it out? Boss, today's dish is from the Yuan family. It's the food sent by the Yuan family that they think is delicious. Damn, what the hell is this? The owner of Feng Jiwen was furious. Did the Yuan family develop a new dish? I guess so. The owner of Feng Jiwen sighed, so to speak, as long as nothing unexpected happens, the Yuan family will rise soon. But the question is, will the Zheng family let you rise again? With the rise of your Yuan family, haven't you dug up the roots of the Zheng family? But thinking about the noisy situation outside, the owner of Feng Jiwen could only sigh and take care of himself first. We can only call the Yuan family first. Hungbin Tower. This vegetable is delicious. What are all the things on here? Are they fooling us? The vegetables just now taste better than those in the next 8 streets. Do you, Hungbin Tower, think we are fools? Change the dishes now. Office. The boss of Hungbin Building said with a sullen face and angrily, have you checked clearly? Old, boss, this delicious dish may be from the Yuan family. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 342. From the Yuan family, the owner of Hungbin Building looked angry. The Yuan family is about to close down. How can they get good products? Boss, really, the Yuan family and Yuan Chenjian just delivered a batch this morning. This batch of vegetables was delivered earlier than the Zheng family. We just brought it for emergency use. Unexpectedly. The purchasers were almost crying. Everything you say is true. The boss of Hungbin stood up suddenly, seriously. It's true. If you don't believe me, just call the surveillance. The boss of Hungbin Building still didn't dare to be careless, so he quickly called up the monitoring and compared it. Facts have proved that the dissatisfaction only started after the Zheng family's vegetables were served. In other words, the Yuan family's vegetables are now completely inferior to the Zheng family's. Thinking of this, Hungbin broke out in a cold sweat. Did the Yuan family survive after putting themselves to death? Doesn't that mean that there will be friction between the Zheng family and the Yuan family next? Boss, what should we do now? The customers are so aggressive. The owner of Hungbin Tower waved his hands in annoyance, gritted his teeth and said, no matter what, contact the Yuan family first. It will last for a while. Yes. As for whether it will offend the Zheng family, that is a matter for the future. At the same time, all over the capital, whether it is a large restaurant, a small restaurant, or an ordinary small shop, similar things are happening at this moment. Yuan family. Hello, I'm Yuan Chenjiun. Hello, Mr. Yuan, I am Cai Zhongming, a man who loves wine and food. Hello, Boss Cai Yuan Chenjiun responded with a smile, surrounded by everyone in the Yuan family who were waiting eagerly. They stared at Yuan Chenjiun nervously, clenching their hands into fists. Ahem, that's it, Cai Zhongming said with some embarrassment. I was a little angry this morning, so please forgive me for neglecting you. Boss Cai is polite, I understand. It's like this. We, who are good at wine and food, want to order a batch of vegetables from you. I wonder if the Yuan family still has them, Cai Zhongming asked very anxiously and carefully. If Yuan Chenjiun said yes, then he could already be sure that the Yuan family would make big moves next. Even the Yuan family at its peak was no match for the Zheng family. Now, even if the Yuan family has a trump card, can they really win the fight? Yes, Yuan Chenjiun said with a smile. Then, can I place an order today? It's best to have it shipped to me as soon as possible, Cai Zhongming said. Of course, I can also arrange for someone to come here myself. How much does Boss Cai want? Please give me 1,000 kilograms of vegetables of various types first. Of course this is possible, but our vegetables are relatively expensive. I will send you the list and you can take a look for yourself, Yuan Chenjiun said politely. Good. After Cai Zhongming hung up the phone, he immediately found that there was a price list on his contact information. However, the moment he saw the price list, he suddenly stood up. What are you doing? So expensive? Just when Cai Zhongming was in anger and shock, calls came to Yuan's house one after another. Without exception, they all requested additional orders. Yuan Chenjiun's reply to everyone was the same. When they saw the latest quotation from the Yuan family, there were naturally many people who scolded their father and mother. However, as everyone knows, this matter has been uploaded to the Douyin short video platform. It caused a huge uproar and noise. The best vegetables have become a hot topic. It can be said that the popularity of the whole people suddenly spread. And this matter is still going on, and everyone is taking videos. Because everyone was surprised to find that this kind of thing happened in all the stores today. Damn, what's going on? I don't know, why are top quality vegetables appearing in all the stores? One thing to say, these top quality vegetables are delicious, but now the boss has gone to negotiate, and he hasn't shown up yet. Our food is cold. So are we. Can this be handled well? Who supplies these vegetables? It should be from the Zheng family, right? After all, the Zheng family has taken over the vegetable market for so many years. This may be a new product. Come on, brothers, I have the latest news. It is said that these top quality vegetables come from the Yuan family that was the one who picked the peaches back then. Yuan family, which Yuan family? Nonsense, of course it's the Yuan family who was plucked by the Zheng family 10 years ago. Many people must not remember it. Upstairs, you are so brave to say that about the Zheng family. Hey, why don't you tell me the truth? I predict that there will be a storm in the vegetable market next time. Countless comments are discussing it. Now, Cai Zhongming and others have called Yuan Chenjiun again, and the unified reply they received is that this is the latest new vegetable researched by the Yuan family. And this is only the lowest level. Intermediate and advanced levels will be introduced in the future. The variety of vegetables will be better. The reason for this price is because this vegetable contains a variety of rare mineral elements that are extremely scarce in the human body. As for the vitamin group, there are also many. The value of this vegetable is definitely much higher than the current pricing. Now, the entire capital area is in an uproar. Immediately afterwards, Douyin videos headed by major wealthy aristocrats also posted videos one after another. The emergence of this kind of video directly detonated the entire situation. Bosses like Cai Zhongming immediately realized the terrible scene. The Yuan family counterattacked. Except for those families that were hostile to the Yuan family and could not get the vegetables from the Yuan family, all other nobles, without exception, received the supply of top-quality vegetables from the Yuan family. Judging from their attitude that they were very satisfied and expressed that they would definitely support the Yuan family in the future. The Yuan family held the lifeline of everyone this time. Because it is impossible for people to not eat rice and vegetables. Some people did not want to compromise with the Yuan family. But the Yuan family was not afraid at all. After eating this kind of top-quality vegetables, eating other cultivated vegetables would be no different from chewing grass roots. The Yuan family. Here comes the order. The first order was naturally the order of the Good Wine and Good Food restaurant. 36 kinds of vegetables, each weighing 1,000 kilograms, shipped today, someone shouted. Have you paid? Paying. Everyone in the Yuan family was overjoyed. Primary vegetables are not very expensive, such as potatoes. The market price outside is about 1 yuan per kilogram, while the Yuan family's is 3 yuan, which is only 2 yuan higher. But it is definitely worth the money. Another order. I'm here too. Need 5,000 kilograms of, 18,000 in the account. Need 3,000 kilograms of leeks, 18,000 in the account. Need 4,000 kilograms of lettuce, 14,000 in the account. The Yuan family's business department broadcast one after another. At this moment, the Yuan family, which had been silent for a long time, finally began to burst out with new vitality. After seeing this scene, Yuan Chenjiun finally smiled, and the Yuan family's counterattack officially began. Li Chen, it's up to you next. The Yuan family is already on the same boat with you, and life and death depends on your ability as the helmsman. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 343. Everything exploded in an instant. The Yuan family became a hot search topic. This family, which had been silent for nearly 10 years, finally resurfaced. Murong Shui's family. At this time, several cars were parked in front of Murong Shui's house. Without exception, they were not from Murong Shui and Li Chen. Murong Shui, get out. Murong Shui, who was playing with her children, frowned slightly when she heard this voice. It's okay, just sit down. Li Chen stood up slowly and walked towards the door. A group of people stood in front of Murong Shui's house. To be precise, the people standing were all people from the second room. For example, Murong Yan, who became majestic because her father became the head of the family, and Murong Kun, who is now called the prince of the Murong family. These two siblings brought quite a lot of people. At least, the formation is quite adequate. There is also a Grand Master holding the battle. At this moment, Murong Yan and Murong Kun were still unaware of what was happening in the outside world. Even if it happened and they knew about it, they would not associate it with Li Chen. In their view, a Yuan family that was just showing signs of rising, not to mention the aloof Zheng family, the He family and the Mu family could crush the Yuan family to death at any time. This situation is harmless. The purpose of their coming here today is also very simple. that is, to let Murong Shui and Li Chen go back and confess their crimes. Otherwise, the Erfang family, which finally took power, will most likely be dismissed by the old man. Of course, they don't want to offend the He family and the Mu family, nor do they want to pay tens of billions of fines. After Li Chen came out, Li Zifeng also came out with him. She also wants to cling to this brave father now. It feels great. Li Chen felt quite helpless when he looked at Murong Yan's face that cared not only about eating but also about being beaten. Everyone, what's wrong? Li Chen Murong Kun frowned slightly and said in a tone of voice, come with us. Take a trip? Where to go? Li Chen asked in surprise. Li Chen, we are all adults, don't act stupid here, Murong Kun said with a low voice and a serious expression, call Murong Shui out too, and follow me back to Murong's house immediately. You said you want us to go back. Who are you? Just because I can be in charge of the Murong family in the future, is that enough? Just because my father is now the head of the Murong family, is that enough? Murong Kun scolded, with an indescribable sense of pride in his tone. Even Murong Yan on the side raised her chin slightly. Now she looked at Li Chen as if she was looking at an inferior person. Li Zifeng looked angry. These people were really shameless. Although she didn't like her grandpa either, it was obvious that these people were taking advantage of him. He actually has the nerve to show off his power here. Xiao Feng. Ah. Help Dad, hammer on your waist. Okay, Li Zifeng said with a smile, are you comfortable? Ah, it's very comfortable. It's better to be a daughter and love your father, Li Chen said with a smile. Murong Yan. Murong Kun. The two siblings were shaking with anger, and this bastard actually ignored them on the spot. Murong Shui, I say this one last time, come out immediately and follow us back. Murong Kun's face gradually darkened and said, do you really think that just relying on the mud legs emerging from the nook at the foot of the mountain can protect you? You are too naive. I came today and didn't do anything because I didn't want to embarrass you. No matter what, you are our clan sister. But if you really want to be stubborn with Li Chenming, then don't blame your brother for not understanding. Behave. Why do you think you don't understand the rules? Li Chen looked at Murong Kun lazily and said, do you really think I don't know what you are planning? Take me and Shui back, and then hand them over to the Mu family and the He family, right? Murong Kun, you are really in the same line as your father. You treat your own family members to death, and when you treat outsiders, you and your son would like to lie on the ground like a pug, licking others' feet. Presumptuous, Murong Kun was furious, with veins popping up on his forehead. Although this was true, he would never allow anyone to say it in public. Murong Shui, are you going back with us or not? Murong Yan was also a little impatient. She thought to herself that she had given Li Chen and Murong Shui a lot of face. Since being soft was not enough, she had to be tough. Dad, what do you think people today grew up on? Why are they deaf and stupid? Li Zifeng tilted her little head and looked at Li Chen. I'm sorry, Dad doesn't know very well. After all, our pigs can understand me. I don't know why people can't understand us. Li Chen spread his hands. Li Chen, Murong Kun was so angry that his orifices were filled with smoke. You stubborn bitch. Get it? There are still many masters of Murong. But at this moment, after Murong Kun spoke, the powerful master did not move. Instead, he felt as if he was facing a formidable enemy. I'll let you take him down. Murong Kun said angrily. The master of the Murong family looked at Murong Kun with a cold look. Murong Kun immediately groaned and a trace of blood came out of the corner of his mouth. You! How dare you, a mere dandy and good for nothing, be so arrogant in front of me? Do you really think that I am your slave? Murong Kun's expression changed drastically. He was so angry just now that he had forgotten that this powerful master was no match for him. Master, Please forgive me, I was reckless. Murong-kun apologized quickly. If this master was forced to abandon the Murong family, his father would not dare to say anything even if he was beaten to death. The master snorted coldly and ignored Murong-kun. This kind of trash was not worth his effort. But after all, he had cooperated with the Murong family for many years. They had been one for a long time and would not really leave the Murong family. The master took a deep breath and looked at Li Chen and said, I heard from Murong Qingying that your cultivation is great, at least the level of a grandmaster. Today Lu Lei wants to learn a little. In any case, he still had to express his position. Li Chen smiled at Lu Lei and said, Are you sure? Of course, Lu Lei's fighting spirit was boiling. Although he knew that there must be some gap between him and Li Chen. But this gap should not be big. After all, in terms of real combat power, he is stronger than Murong Qingying. However, Lu Lei did not know that Murong Qingying lied. Therefore, he did not have a clear standard to judge the difference in fighting power between him and Li Chen. Seeing that Lu Lei finally stood up to fight Li Chen, both Murong Yan and Murong Kun were delighted. Li Chen, you are finished. Master Lu Lei is a well-deserved master who has been in the Murong family for many years. Li Chen smiled and stood up, touched Li Zifeng's little head and said, Xiaofeng, have you seen Whack-A-Mole? Not yet. Li Zifeng shook his head seriously. Then Dad will let you see it today. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 344. Lu Lei sneered. The outside world said that this person was arrogant, but he still didn't believe it. At this moment, he felt that the outside world still underestimated him. This is not only arrogant, but simply arrogant. Li Chen stood up and looked at Lu Lei. Behind them, the two Murong siblings also sneered. They were eager to see Master Lu slap Li Chen to death. Boom. However, everything happened too fast. Li Chen's body suddenly rose up, and then he stepped down with one foot. Lu Lei was shocked. At this moment, he already understood how big the gap was between himself and the man in front of him. Murong Qingying mistook me. However, Li Chen's speed was so fast that he didn't have time, and he couldn't even scream. He crossed his hands to block the top of his head, and then an irresistible force fell on his arms. The ground cracked instantly, as if shaking. A powerful shock ripple spread out instantly with Li Chen's foot falling as the center. Murong Yan, Murong Kun, and others were shaken back a dozen steps, and finally fell to the ground. When they could see clearly again, they saw Li Chen with his hands behind his back and staring at them with a playful look in his eyes. At Li Chen's feet, there was only one head left on the ground. The area centered around the battle between the two people has been completely shattered. The ground was full of potholes, and the solid concrete floor was now in pieces. At this moment, Murong Yan, Murong Kun, and others were all dumbfounded. The peace had been peaceful for too long, and there were very few Grandmaster battles. Therefore, many people have lost their respect for the Grandmaster, including Murong Yan and the others. However, this scene at this moment completely piqued their understanding of the martial arts world. The way they looked at Li Chen finally lost the provocation and contempt, but only the endless fear and fear. The scene just now really happened in the blink of an eye. They were just hit by the strong impact, and the center of gravity of the impact was unstable. They fell backwards, and then when they opened their eyes, they saw that Lu Lei, who they were relying on, had fallen. The visual impact is so strong that it explodes. Li Chen turned his head and looked behind him and asked, Xiaofeng, have you seen it? Wow, Dad, you are so awesome. Li Zifeng's eyes flashed with excitement. Dad is so brave. It's simply awesome. Then do you still want to see it? Li Chen asked with a smile. I think, Li Zifeng nodded excitedly. After all, she was still a violent little witch. Ah! As soon as she finished listening to the conversation between father and daughter Li Chen and Li Zifeng, Murong Yan screamed, dragged her brother who had not yet recovered, and rushed outside. Devil! This family is full of devils. Murong Yan was trembling. She had never been afraid of anyone in her life. However, since meeting Li Chen, she found that she was extremely unlucky. At this moment, boundless fear occupied her entire heart. She finally understood why Li Chen didn't care about the Murong family at all. How could someone with such strength submit to the Murong family? Hey, why did they run away? Li Zifeng said with some regret. Li Chen. Wouldn't it be bad for me to do this? Xiaofeng's path has obviously gone astray, and she seems to be drifting further and further away from the lady her mother imagined. Ahem. Lu Lei coughed, and a trace of blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. Li Chen released his foot from above his head, slowly squatted down and said, "Do you want to live?" Lu Lei smiled bitterly. Did he still have a choice? If you want to live, then work for me. Help me with 3 things, and I will let you live. What do you need me to do? You'd better get up and heal first. You'll be needed soon. How is it? Murong Shui came over and asked worriedly. It's okay, everything has been solved, Li Chen comforted. Dad is so powerful, so powerful. Li Zifeng's eyes were shining brightly, and she was dancing excitedly. He knocked the opponent down with 2 quick blows, and Murong Yan was so scared that she peed her shit. Boom. Murong Shui knocked on Li Zifeng's little head. When talking about wielding swords and guns, this little girl became extremely excited. It is better to keep her and Li Chen away from each other in the future. After all, Our Lady training plan must still be implemented. As for Li Biwu, who was clinging to Li Chen, she had no hope at all. I have been growing crookedly since I was a child. In the past 2 days, you just stay at home with your child. If nothing else happens, we will go back soon. Really? Murong Shui looked overjoyed and exclaimed, really? When have I lied to you? Li Chen smiled. But now the Murong family will not give up. Now the He family wants 70 billion. If the Murong family is really pressed, they will jump over the wall, Murong Shui reminded. What's more, now that the He family and the Mu family are putting pressure on the Murong family to deal with you, you are now surrounded by enemies on 3 sides. Li Chen gently stretched out his hand to hug Murong Shui, but found that his hand was bitten by a mouth. Xiao Wu, let go. Oh, Li Biwu let go of Li Chen's fingers with some regret. Baba's fingers smell so good, it makes me miss them just looking at them. Li Chen wiped his hands in disgust. This child was hopeless. After the transformation of his own physique, he exuded a faint fragrance from the inside out. No wonder the little foodie couldn't help it. Li Chen was about to reach out his hand again and hug Murong Shui, but he found that his hand seemed to be wrong again. Li Nanfei hid beside Murong Shui, blinking innocent eyes at him. Dad, you hug me and Mom. I want it too, I want it too. Li Biwu immediately came over and sat next to Li Chen and Li Zifeng, forcibly pulling Li Chen's hand and letting him hug himself and his sister. Li Chen. None of them is worry-free. Murong Shui blushed and glared at Li Chen. Li Chen gave up and simply leaned on the sofa, saying, the Mu family, the He family and even the Zheng family will be in trouble next. Wait until I deal with them, and the Murong family will have nothing to jump about. Murong Shui widened her eyes, and went to war with the 3 major families. Are you kidding? Is it fake? Although Li Chen now has an advantage over the Murong family, he cannot beat them in a real arm wrestling match. He, don't believe it, Li Chen smiled and said, the water in the capital has been muddied by me. They will soon find that a huge crisis is waiting for them. My money is almost gathered. Murong Shui. All this sounded like a dream to her. Okay, you stay at home, Xiaolong, Come with me. Li Chen immediately stood up and shouted to his eldest son, who was sitting aside without being coquettish or playing. Li Donglong immediately stood up. He knew that the next moment would be the moment to witness his father's miracle. But he was also curious, where did his father's money come from? The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 345. Li Biwu wanted to hurry on, but was caught by Li Nanfei and Li Zifeng. Although they were young, they understood that whether their father could take them back to the countryside depended on this wave. The Mu family and the He family were both insurmountable mountains. This was also the towering mountain that stood in front of countless big families, an existence that could never be crossed. Where did Dad get his hundreds of billions of funds? How could it be done in 2 or 3 days? However, despite their worries, they were still willing to believe Li Chen. As for Dad taking his eldest brother out, they were not surprised. Dad might have deliberately let his eldest brother get in touch with these things. I'm going, Li Biwu said to her little lips, with her hands on her hips. De Guo has followed. Good boy, you De Guo are going to learn from Dad. Learn to be serious. Learn to make money. Li Nanfei smiled and said, how about this, third brother teaches you arithmetic? As long as you get the arithmetic problems right, I'll let you follow Dad. Dear, Li Biwu's eyes lit up, but, I only waste within 10. Sanguo can't bully Xiao Wu. Li Nanfei patted his chest and said, of course, a brother will never lie to his sister. Murong Shui looked at her youngest son with strange eyes. Wouldn't this guy find a reason to let Xiao Wu run away with him? Only Li Zifeng sat aside and shook her head. Stupid little sister. Your third brother, who is in the entertainment industry, should not believe a single punctuation mark when he says something. Li Biwu glanced at the door, looking forward to chasing Daddy soon. Li Nanfei then said, addition and subtraction within 10. Okay. Then listen carefully. 1 add 2 add 3 add 4 add 5 add 6 add 7 add 8 add 9 add 9 add 8 add 7 add 6 add 5 add 4 add 3 add 2 add 1 add 5 add 6. Add 2 add 5 add 8 add 9 add 1 equals how much? Even Li Nanfei himself didn't know how many numbers he said in the end, and it took about 3 minutes. Okay, you calculate it? Li Biwu. Puff. Murong Shui looked at Xiao Wu's dumbfounded look and couldn't help it. She admitted that as a mother, she shouldn't laugh at this time, but she really couldn't help it. Li Biwu looked at Li Nanfei blankly as if he was cast with a spell. What about the promise that brothers don't lie to their sisters? Wow. Li Biwu threw himself into Murong Shui's arms heartbroken, crying. Look at you, you can't afford to play, I didn't lie to you, this is within 10. Li Nanfei spread his hands. Weavuo, Sanguo is a bad guy, Mom, Weavuo, I don't want Sanguo anymore. Oh, don't cry, Murong Shui hugged the crying Li Biwu with a smile. This child was really sad. Who knew that Sanguo would actually shatter her 3 views? Go, where? Can you stop stuttering? Li Chen drove the car and said disdainfully. Li Donglong's face darkened, this old man is so respectable and difficult to serve. I'm changing it. Li Chen didn't dwell on this issue, and said, take a look at the current news, and take a look at Duyan by the way. Oh, Li Donglong felt that the personality of the high cold and domineering president was still suitable for him. Because of this, he didn't have to talk too much, and he didn't have to be disliked by Li Chen. Browsing the news one by one, when he opened Duyan, his eyebrows, which were very similar to Li Chen's, were slightly raised. As more and more videos were browsed by him, Li Donglong widened his eyes in surprise. What is this, Fei Si? Li Chen. After taking a deep breath, Li Chen said, what is this, Fei Si? I think you should use your brain. Li Donglong looked at Li Chen with a dark face and resentment. I asked you to copy the dictionary in vain. Li Donglong suddenly missed Fijia and his mother very much. Yuanjia vegetables, have new products, Li Donglong gritted his teeth and said slowly. Yes, Li Chen nodded, what else? According to what I just browsed, carefully tasted, Li Donglong analyzed seriously, Yuanjia should have completed the research results. Last time, the uncle and his family came over, and they thought you had a way to fix the Yuan family, so, I boldly guessed that this time should be related to you. Continue, Li Chen had given up correcting the child's accent. Forget it, it's also a major feature. Li Donglong thought for a while and said, so, you just talk to your mother, and you can get the money together immediately, because the Yuan family wants to make money. Well, not bad, Li Chen said, we are going to the Yuan family now. Li Donglong's eyes flickered, so that's it? But, how much profit can the Yuan family create in just a few days? It's impossible that all the people in the country will choose to cooperate with the Yuan family, right? It's impossible. As long as they don't cooperate with all the companies and vegetable markets across the country, there is no way to shake the status of the Zheng family. In this way, the difficulty of the Yuan family's rise is still very great. No, no. Li Donglong shook his head slightly, and his father seemed to be a little busy recently. What else? Yes, there is wheat. Li Donglong quickly searched for all the relevant information, and then began to investigate in batches, and finally locked in the southern region. Now it has become extremely popular, almost rushing to countless hot searches. Wine, Ziwi wine. Li Donglong exclaimed. Breaking 200 million in a single day, breaking 500 million in an hour on the morning of the next day, breaking 1.5 billion that night. When he saw these reports, he was dumbfounded. Moreover, this is the data from a few days ago, what about today? When the latest news was opened, Li Donglong's eyes almost popped out. The latest news is that Pan's liquor has reached a new high. Pan's Ziwife liquor has been launched. After more than a month of fermentation, it has finally been recognized by the market. Just today, according to the data provided by the Pan family, the sales of Pan's Ziwife liquor yesterday alone have exceeded 2 million pieces. Moreover, this data is obviously still rising. At the same time, according to big data, Pan's liquor will be launched at the same time in the 8 southern provinces and the 7 northern provinces. Conservatively estimated, Pan's liquor will usher in a new peak tonight. In addition, Pan Sichin, the head of the Pan family, said that the Pan family opened an online purchase channel 3 days ago, breaking the latest transaction record in 1 hour, reaching an astonishing 100,000 pieces. Li Donglong was dumbfounded. 100,000 pieces in 1 hour, that is, more than 27 pieces per second. So fierce. Then how much money did the Pan family make from the wine they sold now? Let's say the 100,000 pieces sold online, one piece is 432, so 100,000 pieces is 43.2 million. Hiss. Li Donglong calculated it and shocked himself. How strong is Pan's Ziwi wine? Wait. Uncle Pan seemed to have come last time and signed a contract with Dad. So, Dad also has shares in Pan's family. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 346. Based on the known data alone, Li Donglong calculated that the Pan family's income was at least 15 billion. And this is just the data on the surface. Because he followed Murong Hung's, Li Donglong was very aware of the tricks announced by the big family. The data announced by the Pan family are definitely just a fraction of the real data. So, the Pan family makes more money. Li Donglong was sweating all over his body. His father had played a big game of chess. No wonder he wanted to attack all 3 parties. How long have you been married? How much did your dad get from your dividends? Dad. At my uncle's and grandpa's house, is it just the beginning? Li Donglong asked. You guess. Soon, Li Chen took Li Donglong to Yuan's house. At this time, the Yuan family has begun to operate efficiently. After all, Yuan Jiahao is a veteran who has been in charge of the Yuan family for many years. How can he not understand what the current situation means to the Yuan family? Yuan Jiahao sat in the conference room and took charge of the overall situation. Yuan Chenjiun and the rest of the Yuan family were in charge. Master, Mr. Li is here. Yuan Jiahao was stunned for a moment, then stood up and said, please. Soon, Li Chen and Li Donglong were brought over by the Yuan family. Uncle! Uncle! Li Chen and Li Donglong shouted. Yuan Jiahao couldn't help laughing, and he felt much more comfortable instantly. Come, sit down, Yuan Jiahao pointed to the seat. Looking at Li Chen at this time, Yuan Jiahao felt astonished. My niece is such a blessing. I actually got to know such a hero in the world. Whether it is this magical method, or the peak cultivation level and realm that most martial arts masters can't aspire to, this is a legend. I'm afraid there won't be many people in the world who can compare with it, right? Li Donglong sat aside obediently. He knew that Li Chen knew that he had brought him here just to gain some knowledge and take a look at what was going to happen next. How is the situation now? Li Chen asked. Here, there is a huge projector with 16 frames, which is used to monitor important locations of the Yuan family. At the same time, there are also specialized computer operation talents here, and many things of the Yuan family are realized here. Very good, everything is on track. When Yuan Jiahao talked about this, his tone was still full of wonder and disbelief. Since the morning, all the major restaurants, shopping malls, etc. are not willing to pay attention to us. So far, 109 large restaurants, 326 medium-sized restaurants and 425 small restaurants have all come to cooperate with us. Yuan Jiahao has already controlled the projector and switched the screen. Potatoes cost 8 yuan a pound, and the number of pre-orders now exceeds 700,000 pounds. As Yuan Jiahao said, Li Donglong silently calculated in his mind, potatoes alone would cost 5.6 million. The number of cucumbers that cost 6 yuan a pound now exceeds 650,000 pounds. The amount of lupa that costs 15 yuan is 400,000 jins. The amount of white radish that costs 5 yuan is 860,000 catties. 12 yuan of enoki mushrooms, the scheduled quantity is 340,000 kilograms. The eggplants cost 9 yuan, and the order quantity is 670,000 catties. After calculating all the various data, Li Donglong was a little confused. Because, there are more than 30 kinds of vegetables alone. The general prices are very expensive. In other words, this morning, the Yuan family's transaction amount should have exceeded 100 million. And it hadn't been long since morning. Not bad, Li Chen nodded lightly. What's the reaction from the He family and the Mu family now? As you expected, I was a little anxious. But I didn't pay too much attention to it. Yuan Jiahao smiled, which is actually understandable. The Yuan family's first attack was not directed at the Mu family and the He family, but at the Zheng family, who were both sitting firmly on the Diaotai. He Runkai looked at the picture on the big screen, his face became increasingly gloomy. Master, this. He Runkai couldn't help but stand up and said, is this, the Yuan family's food? Right. He Runkai looked unnatural, paced back and forth, and said, I want to speak to Mr. Zheng. He Runkai never underestimated his opponents. Although he didn't know what it meant that the Yuan family suddenly launched a big move, he was keenly aware that this matter might not be simple. Of course, because the Yuan family and the Zheng family are both in competition, he is not too worried. However, as a follower of the Zheng family, you don't have to care about this kind of thing, but you must tell the Zheng family as soon as possible. Soon, the call was connected. Master Zheng, it's me. Have you seen the news? Hirunkai said with a hint of eagerness. The Yuan family seems to have really developed a new vegetable, and now it has 100% praise in the market. This is something that has never happened before. Yeah. I know. Then what are you going to do? Hirunkai asked with twinkling eyes. They are just clowns. When the Yuan family was at its peak, it was not able to continue its glory, let alone today after 10 years of decline. Don't worry, they can't make any trouble. I heard the person on the phone speaking with an unparalleled confidence and casual tone. Hirunkai felt a little weird, but it was hard to say anything more. The water in the Zheng family is unfathomable. Even he may not know much. Since Mr. Zheng is so confident, he naturally cannot continue to attack. So he said a few words in a nonchalant manner and hung up the phone. Master, what does the master of the Zheng family say? No problem, clown, Hirunkai waved his hand. Hearing this, these people all laughed. Aren't the Yuan family just clowns? By the way, what's going on with the Murong family? Hirunkai asked. This morning, two siblings, Murong Yan and Murong Kun, brought a middle-level master there, but they were scared to death. The master of the Murong family is now said to have been stepped into the ground by Li Chen. When Hirunkai heard this, his eyes changed slightly and he said, it seems that it is really a bit tricky, but don't worry, the great elder will be out of seclusion in 2 days. If the Murong family can't hand over anyone, then don't blame me, the He family, for taking action. No matter how strong Li Chen is, he can't withstand his absolute strength. Jingle bell. Unless it is a very important cooperation, it is generally impossible to transfer it to Yuan Jiahao. Those who come to him to discuss must have huge orders. Li Chen and Li Donglong both turned to look at the monitoring screen. Yuan Jiahao did not avoid Li Chen and his son, but turned on the amplification and video. Hello, Mr. Yuan, I am the general manager of Shaoguang Vegetable Wholesale Market. Hello. Mr. Yuan, through observation and evaluation, we found that Yuan's vegetables are now very suitable for promotion and sale, and have a very significant effect on human body improvement. Therefore, our wholesale market wants to sign an order with you. I don't know Yuan, are you interested, sir? Li Donglong's eyes widened when he heard this. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 347. Shaoguang Vegetable Wholesale Market, isn't this the largest, highest grade, and most complete market in China? The annual turnover is in the tens of billions of kilograms. When Li Chen heard this, he couldn't help but look over. Sure enough, there are many people paying attention to the Yuan family. Perhaps, many people are waiting for the Yuan family to make big moves, right? After all, comparing the Zheng family and the Yuan family, one is an old family that has inherited the family for many years, and the other started by picking peaches along the way. The gap in some things is obvious. What's more, the Zheng family has a great business, but their attitude is quite arrogant. The original price of vegetables has almost doubled. Even though the Yuan family's top quality vegetables have a high business value, the current price is only 3 to 5 times the normal market price. If compared to the Zheng families, it would be twice as much at most. No matter how you choose, these people are not fools. Of course this is possible, Yuan Jiahao said with a smile. I wonder how big an order you need to place. Since the Yuan family's new technology has just started recently, and I heard that the transaction volume is also quite large, how about placing an initial order of 3 billion? Can. Okay, I'll let the people below contact the Yuan family in detail. By the way, you don't need to wait long for vegetables, right? Unnecessary. Then I wish us happy cooperation. When Yuan Jiahao hung up the phone, Li Donglong was dumbfounded. With one phone call, 3 billion orders were completed. Jingle bell. Hello. Mr. Yuan, hello, we are from the Zinfadi Agricultural Products Wholesale Market and we have cooperated before. Haha, I know, I still remember you. It's like this. We in the capital also need a batch of vegetables from the Yuan family. I wonder if Mr. Yuan still has enough stock. Of course there is. That's great, we will come over and sign a contract with you today. We plan to initially reserve 4 billion, but I don't know about the Yuan family. No problem. See you later. Li Donglong stared at his uncle blankly, his whole head was buzzing. Zinfadi, isn't this the largest vegetable wholesale market in Beijing? The other party immediately contacted the Yuan family. What does this mean? It shows that they are more optimistic about the Yuan family. Moreover, although the trading volume of the market in Zinfadi is not as good as that of Shaoguang, you must know that the market in Jingxi is very scary. Nowadays, with this terrifying sales power, it will be sold out in an instant. Moreover, Yuan's vegetables are so popular now. If nothing unexpected happens, Yuan's rising speed will feel like riding a rocket upwards. In just a short period of time, the Yuan family has already reached a turnover of 7 billion. And this is only the morning. Now, the rest of the transaction slips are not here. In other words, the actual transaction volume of the Yuan family is likely to be close to tens of billions. The next time was a bit boring. Li Donglong sat next to his uncle, listened to his uncle's phone call, and then learned how to reply. Li Chen went out to find Yuan Chenjiun. There are more than 100 people in the entire Yuan family sales department, and they are all answering the phone or operating computers. And Li Chen glanced at the big data above, the good guy was already 12.1 billion. Li Chen, why are you here? Yuan Chenjiun greeted Li Chen in surprise immediately after seeing him. All members of the Yuan family looked over. Li Chen was startled because he found that everyone here looked at him with fiery eyes, admiration, and extremely strong respect. Yuan Chenjiun coughed, pulled Li Chen and said, "Are you going to find my dad?" "Looking for you." "Looking for me?" Yuan Chenjiun was stunned for a moment and said, "Don't worry, the money will be transferred directly to Xiaolong when the time comes." "That's not it," Li Chen pointed outside, and the two walked out side by side. "Although it's a good start now, if you don't worry about the long term, you will have to worry about the near future." Hearing this, Yuan Chenjiun's expression changed slightly. "You mean, the Zheng family?" "The Zheng family hasn't realized it yet." "This is a golden opportunity for your development," Li Chen said, "but, do you still have a master in charge of your Yuan family?" Yuan Chenjiun's expression changed again and he said, "There is only one person." "He hasn't said yet, there is only one early stage grandmaster." "This is because the other party is from the Yuan family. As for the other masters, they have already left the Yuan family." "Make the best plan," Li Chen said, "although if the Zheng family touches you, you will have to bear the market's backlash, but if the Zheng family is really determined to touch you, then there is nothing you can do. The market it can influence the Zheng family to a certain extent, but it is absolutely impossible to really stop the Zheng family. Just like 10 years ago." Yuan Chenjiun felt extremely heavy. "Take me to see your grandmaster, and I'll see if there's any way to help him improve." "Hiss," Yuan Chenjiun looked at Li Chen with fiery eyes. At this moment, Li Chen was like a god, as if he could do anything. Yuan Chenjiun didn't even bother to discuss it with his father, so he took Li Chen directly to the most secret place of the Yuan family. This is where the previous generation of the Yuan family lived. This old master of the Yuan family is really not too young. Third grandpa. The door opened quietly, revealing a secluded garden. I saw an old man planting vegetables leisurely. The environment here is very elegant. Li Chen did not expect that there would be such a quiet place in such a place. Moreover, the old master of the Yuan family did not show up in public like other masters. Instead, he lived in seclusion here. Just this state of mind is beyond the reach of ordinary people. Third grandfather, Yuan Chenjiun, was very polite and courteous. "Why are you here?" The old man was in a good mood. "Didn't you say that you are very busy recently? How come you still have time to see the old man?" "I brought a friend, a relative to see you." "Who is it?" the old man asked. Li Chen walked in slowly. The old man's face, which was originally smiling, quickly became serious. He immediately threw the water scoop gently, and the water scoop floated into the water tank. "I am Yuan Tianfeng, I meet the Grand Master." Yuan Chenjiun was dumbfounded. It was the first time he saw the third grandfather so serious. What's more, it was to his brother-in-law. Li Chen smiled and shook his head. "Third grandfather, you are too polite." Yuan Tianfeng showed a look of surprise and looked at Yuan Chenjiun. "Third grandfather, this is Li Chen, Shue'er's husband." His Yuan Tianfeng's hand trembled as he touched his beard, and several strands of beard were removed. "Shue'er's husband is a grand master?" Even a big man like Yuan Tianfeng, who has seen the wind and rain, was trembling violently. "Third grandfather, grandson will not beat around the bush this time." Yuan Chenjiun knew that time was precious, so he said, "Li Chen came here this time mainly to see if he can help you improve your cultivation." His Yuan Chenjiun's eyelids twitched wildly. "Third grandfather, if you pull a few more times, your beard will be gone." "Are you serious?" The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 348. At his age, there is almost no luxury left. He knows only too well how difficult it is to progress in martial arts. Although, there are still many people who have become masters. But this is also because of the country's large population base. But the real number of Grand Masters is probably only 100. Because many people have sadly left the industry, and some died early due to hidden illnesses. It doesn't mean that once you reach the master level, the road is really open, but your lifespan is longer than that of a human being. Relatively speaking, the Grand Master has more hidden diseases. The injury was more serious. The older the master, the more so. His health and combat effectiveness have both declined drastically. It is very difficult to maintain the same level, let alone improve a strong man's cultivation level under such conditions. If it were anyone else, Yuan Tianfeng wouldn't even look at it, and he would probably kick out the person who said such nonsense. But, he had to think about the person in front of him. Because, Li Chen is too young. At least, Yuan Tianfeng has lived for 70 or 80 years, and this is the first time he has heard and seen someone reach the level of a Grand Master before the age of 30. This is definitely the first person. Maybe Li Chen can really bring him a miracle? Li Chen smiled when he heard this. He saw hope and desire in the old man's eyes. At this age, who wouldn't want to go further if there is a chance? If he could really go one step further, it would not be difficult for him to live to be 100 years old. Even if you have hidden diseases, you can still resist them for a long time. Moreover, Yuan Tianfeng really didn't go into seclusion. In fact, he couldn't worry about the entire Yuan family. The Yuan family used to be in the third echelon, but now it is in dire straits. If he could see the glory restored before he died, even if he died, he wouldn't have the face to face the ancestors of the Yuan family. Yuan Chenjiun was also looking at Li Chen eagerly. Li Chen said, "Grandpa Guan-san has a lot of hidden diseases in his body, as well as hidden injuries. I think they were caused back then. Have these hidden diseases and injuries caused you a lot of trouble? If you hadn't had a solid foundation, you would have been exhausted over the years, right?" "That's right," Yuan Tianfeng nodded heavily. "That's easy to handle," Li Chen smiled and said, At least now it seems that we should be 60% sure. Yuan Tianfeng fiercely pulled off a few more beards. 60%. He never thought about this possibility. Even if it is only 20% or 30%, this is a miracle. He didn't dare to think of more than 40%, or even 50%. When Li Chen said 60% just now, he was actually a little dissatisfied. Does he know what 60% means to people like them who can't make any progress in this life? Li Chen looked at the table beside him and said, "Your situation is pretty good. I'll take care of your hidden illnesses first, otherwise it will be a problem. Can you still practice medicine?" "Master Zhao Dezu." Hiss. Yuan Chenjiun turned his head, unable to look at his third grandfather. "Back then, you were bragging that Mount Tai would collapse before you, without changing your expression. What? Today, there is a small collapse in 3 seconds, and a large collapse in 5 seconds. Yuan Tianfeng didn't know that his impression of Yuan Chenjiun, his grandson, had been completely shattered. "It just so happens that I recently prepared a batch of medicine, which is quite good. It has a miraculous effect on the hidden diseases of martial arts practitioners like you." Li Chen took out a slightly larger bottle and placed it on the table. "The color is a bit dark, and Yuan Tianfeng is very doubtful whether this thing can be drunk. Just drink." "Yeah," Li Chen nodded with a smile. A flash of disappointment flashed in Yuan Tianfeng's heart. If the hidden martial arts disease could be cured so easily. Is it possible that there are still so many masters who are lonely in their later years? He smiled bitterly in his heart. He had so much expectations for Li Chen just now, but now he feels so disappointed. Even if this person is a disciple of the miracle Dr. Zhao Dezu, I'm afraid it won't work. Yuan Tianfeng didn't want to waste his grandson's kindness, so he opened the black bottle, raised his head and poured the dark liquid into his mouth. His originally pale face suddenly turned red. Yuan Tianfeng exclaimed, without even thinking about talking, he immediately sat cross-legged and absorbed it. "Third grandpa, what's wrong with you?" Li Chen stopped Yuan Chenjiun and watched quietly. Yuan Tianfeng's face turned red and white smoke billowed out from his body, just like a roasted suckling pig. Yuan Tianfeng was shocked. He didn't take it seriously and almost overturned this time. He knew very well how serious the hidden disease injury in his body was. However, even a miraculous doctor like Zhao Dezu cannot cure them with just a little medicine. At most, they can be relieved. This is one of the reasons why Yuan Tianfeng doesn't take it seriously. But now, after taking this seemingly ordinary bottle of dark medicine, the rolling, majestic medicinal power instantly activated his vitality. The whole person seemed to have burst into a second spring, and the blood and energy in his body erupted like a volcano. Yuan Tianfeng was so frightened that he quickly absorbed it. He was sure that after the power of the medicine passed, the injuries in his body would not be completely healed, but at least 80% better. How can a person who practices martial arts not have any injuries on his body? The remaining 20% can be ignored completely. The blood is soaring into the sky, and the vitality continues to explode. Yuan Tianfeng's recovery speed was frightening, but it was a pity that Yuan Chenjiun didn't understand. He doesn't have the intelligence to practice martial arts either. Suddenly, Yuan Tianfeng opened his eyes, and like a sharp sword sweeping over him, the sound of Jin Ji broke out. Yuan Chenjiun's whole body was cold and stiff. This was the first time that he felt such a terrifying pressure from third grandpa. Stronger than before. Eventually, the redness faded from my face. Except for Yuan Tianfeng's beard, which is a little smaller, he seems to be a little younger. Even if your cultivation level cannot be promoted this time, just by helping Yuan cure his hidden illness, you, Li Chen, will be the great benefactor of my Yuan family. As long as it works. Li Chen waved his hands indifferently, they were just little tricks. Originally, The best way to improve your cultivation is to rely on natural enlightenment and hard work, but it is too time-consuming, so I plan to forcibly use medicine to improve you. After the improvement, you can stabilize your state yourself. The corner of Yuan Tianfeng's mouth twitched slightly. There are no great medicines in this world. If it had existed, it would have been robbed long ago. Li Chen smiled and took out a snow-white flower from the snake bag on the side. His 300-year-old living Ganoderma lucidum should be able to give you a little more motivation. Yuan Tianfeng's hands were trembling. This is wild ginseng. Well, it seems to be only more than 200 years old. You can use it first. Is this Tianshan snow lotus okay? You can use these first. If they are not enough, I will have more. Li Chen took out one after another worthless gadgets that shocked the world from the inconspicuous snakeskin bag. Even Yuan Chenjiun was stunned. Isn't this special girl here to show off her wealth? The damn Tianshan snow lotus is just okay. Third grandpa. Senior, Li Chen looked up and found that the grandson's face was dull, as if he was out of his body, so he stretched out his hand and shook it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 349. Slurp, Yuan Tianfeng touched the corner of his mouth and coughed. Well, these things are indeed okay. Yuan Chenjiun on the side turned away his eyes in disdain. Third grandpa, forget it. Your saliva is flowing out, and you still have to pretend. Even if my Yuan family spends all its wealth now, we can't get one of these. How can it be considered okay? Ahem. That, you go out first, and no one is allowed to come in without my permission from now on. Yuan Tianfeng glared at Yuan Chenjiun. What's the look in your eyes, you bastard? Are you looking down on your third grandfather? Your third grandfather also saw the world back then, okay. Okay, Yuan Chenjiun pouted and turned away. He had to tell his father about this matter. The Yuan family owes a lot of favors. If I don't help Sister Shui get revenge this time, the Yuan family will despise me. As soon as Yuan Chenjiun left, Yuan Tianfeng stared at these top-quality famous medicines with burning eyes. To be honest, even in his previous era, when this thing had not yet become extinct, he had only had the good fortune to see it. But this was definitely the first time to watch it so closely. Yuan Tianfeng couldn't help but carefully look at the young man in front of him. To be honest, this young man gave him a feeling of being unpredictable. This situation can only mean that the person in front of him is more terrifying than his cultivation. Third grandpa, let's start, Li Chen reminded. Oh, Yuan Tianfeng nodded and retracted his mind. Originally, he wanted to maintain the demeanor of a senior and a master, but now it seems that the filter has been shattered to the ground. Forget it, it's his junior anyway, it doesn't matter. Yuan Tianfeng is now a broken jar, and he no longer hesitates. With these things from Li Chen, he will definitely be able to go to the next level. When Yuan Tianfeng began to officially impact the level of the middle stage of the Grandmaster, a majestic pressure erupted from him. Li Chen had to sigh that the foundation of this old Grandmaster was really profound. When Li Chen bought these things, he didn't spend too much money, and then he used the vitality water to irrigate and ripen them crazily. Otherwise, he really couldn't get these. As for what he brought before, he has already given it to the Murong family. If nothing unexpected happens, Muronghongs should have gotten it. At the same time, Yuan Jiahao licked his dry lips, and when he picked up the water cup, he found that there was no water in the water cup. This time he was really busy, and there was not even a sip of water to drink. When he saw his son coming, Yuan Jiahao immediately pointed to his cup and answered the phone again. Hello. Brother, it's me. Jiachan, Yuan Jiahao was stunned, and he still didn't recover. The land you asked me to contract has been settled, and those at the beginning can now be directly used, Yuan Jiachen said. Hearing this, Yuan Jiahao's face flashed with joy and said, very good. Gather all the people immediately to expand the scale of planting. Okay, Yuan Jiachen nodded, then I'll go and get busy first. Go ahead. Yuan Jiahao hung up the phone, feeling very comfortable. Yuan Chenjiun put down the water cup and asked in confusion, the uncle in Jiangbei? Yes, Yuan Jiahao said, now our two families in the south and the north are working at the same time, which is much better than our one-way fight. Yuan Chenjiun nodded. The Jiangbei Yuan family was separated from the Beijing Yuan family. But they are all from the same lineage. It's just that in order to prevent being targeted, the Jiangbei Yuan family and the Beijing Yuan family will not have much contact in public. But the private contact is very close. What are you doing here? Third grandfather is trying to reach the middle stage of Grandmaster. What? Yuan Jiahao's face suddenly changed and said, how foolish. His hidden injury has not been resolved yet. How can he act rashly at this time? How could he not know that he seemed to be the one under the greatest pressure in the Yuan family, but in fact, it was Yuan Tianfeng who was really bearing all the pressure. If it weren't for the Yuan family and its own veteran grandmaster sitting here, the Yuan family would have been completely destroyed long ago. Once Yuan Tianfeng couldn't hold on, then the Yuan family would be waiting for a pack of wolves to pounce. Yuan Tianfeng's health was deteriorating day by day, and Yuan Jiahao was also worried. But he couldn't help. The previous Yuan family was about to collapse, where would there be money to treat Yuan Tianfeng's injuries? Besides, the injuries of martial artists are not so easy to cure. Hundreds of millions of funds would be consumed at any time, and ordinary families couldn't bear it, let alone afford it. This also led to Yuan Tianfeng's condition getting worse day by day. Yuan Jiahao didn't care about business anymore, and hurriedly left the room. Why didn't you stop him? Yuan Jiahao glared at his son with dissatisfaction. Yuan Chenjiun said helplessly, Dad, listen to me. What else? Yuan Jiahao wanted to kick this guy to death. Third grandpa's injury has almost healed. Yuan Jiahao's hurried steps suddenly stopped, and he looked at Yuan Chenjiun with a ghostly look on his face, as if saying, think it over before you speak, otherwise I will not be polite. Yuan Chenjiun explained with a smile, how could I lie to you? I won't joke about this kind of thing. It was all done by Li Chen. Li Chen, Yuan Jiahao was stunned again, and then smiled with relief. This time, Yuan Jiahao no longer doubted. Yuan Chenjiun couldn't help rolling his eyes when he saw his father like this. What's wrong? Do you trust Li Chen so much now? So, your third grandfather's injury is almost healed? Yes. But now practicing requires a lot of natural treasures. Yuan Jiahao shook his head slightly and said, we don't have any stock at home. That, Li Chen took out a lot of good things. Oh. So that's it, then it should be stable, Yuan Jiahao smiled. The smile on his face was full of trust in Li Chen. Yuan Chenjiun. Just when the father and son arrived at the gate of the courtyard, a momentum rushed in. The leaves at the gate were blown up by this wave of air. So strong. Yuan Jiahao and Yuan Chenjiun were shocked at the same time. Creak. The door opened automatically without wind. The father and son understood, suppressed the shock and excitement in their hearts, and walked inside quickly. Yuan Tianfeng, who used to look old, suddenly looked like he was 10 years younger. His eyes were bright and full of energy, and he had an indescribable demeanor and style. Congratulations, Uncle San. Congratulations, Grandpa San. Ha ha ha. Yuan Tianfeng couldn't help laughing. Jiahao, I can go a step further, all thanks to Li Chen. You have to thank him. Yes, Yuan Jiahao took a deep breath and stopped joking. He looked at Li Chen with a serious face and said, Next, the Yuan family will stop the Zheng family at all costs to prevent them from ending up. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 350. Thank you, Li Chen nodded with a smile. Where's Xiaolong? He's visiting the vegetable garden, Yuan Jiahao said with a smile. This little guy is very interested in those things. Li Chen nodded with a smile. It seems that Li Donglong is not out of touch with the world, but quickly integrated into the role. Because Yuan Tianfeng had a temporary breakthrough and needed to continue to consolidate his cultivation, Li Chen and Yuan Jiahao and others quickly withdrew from the courtyard. By the way, Yuan Jiahao began to say, after today, the reputation of our Yuan family will definitely rise. And next, I plan to exert force from the north and the south at the same time, and strive to give the Zheng family a blow in the shortest time. Li Chen pondered for a moment and said, okay, I will prepare things for you in advance. Thank you. Yuan Jiahao was overjoyed when he heard this. With Li Chen's guarantee, the Yuan family can achieve a shocking reversal in the shortest time. For this day, the Yuan family has waited too long. So long that they themselves thought they would never have the chance to rise in this life. But they never expected that this time they would succeed. After watching Li Chen and Li Donglong leave, Yuan Chenjiun and Yuan Jiahao immediately returned to the house. When Yuan Chenjiun saw that the transaction price was fixed at 18.9 billion, he was almost dumbfounded. In just a short while, his father actually got another 7.8 billion order? This. Yuan Jiahao ignored his son's shock and held a meeting again. All the backbones of the Yuan family gathered together. Everyone, today is the first stop for my Yuan family to re-enter the market, so we have to fight beautifully at this stop. As Yuan Jiahao spoke, many Yuan family members below were excited and flushed. This 18.9 billion is just our preliminary order. The completion of the order delivery means that we can get all of it, otherwise there may be changes. I hope that everyone will strictly demand themselves in the future, don't cheat, don't deceive yourself, how much is how much, and you can even go down to negotiate the order in person. All get paid according to the commission. There was another commotion below. Yuan Jiahao continued, next, the Yuan family has only one goal, that is to take back the market that belongs to our Yuan family. Then, what if the Zheng family gets into trouble? Someone asked this question below. Yuan Jiahao sneered and said, then, sniper him. Zinfadi. Hurry, hurry, there are fresh vegetables over there. Why is the line so long? It's too difficult. Why is it so difficult to buy the Yuan family's vegetables now? That's right, fortunately I was smart yesterday and stocked up a little more. Boss, what's wrong with you? Where are the vegetables? We have been queuing for an hour or two. The line is long. The entire large wholesale market was completely packed. Yuan's vegetables directly became popular on the entire Douyin platform. Any video posted by anyone has attracted super high traffic, likes and comments. Even countless anchors came to the largest vegetable wholesale market in Beijing as soon as possible. Here, it can be said that there are crowds of people. Catch a person and ask, all have the same answer. What kind of a crappy platform is this? Why can't I even get Yuan's vegetables? It's not that I can't get them, it's that they're sold out. Damn, there's a long line at the market now, and it's said to be even harder to buy. I didn't think Zheng's vegetables were anything special before, but now that I've eaten the newly cultivated vegetables from Yuan's family, it feels really hard to swallow Zheng's. Boss, they're out of stock again. Out of stock? Didn't Yuan's family just send over 10,000 kilograms? Yes, they're gone all of a sudden. Overnight, Yuan's vegetables became popular all over the country. From north to south, from east to west. This should be the most popular brand at the moment. The popularity of Yuan's family has suddenly soared to the level of national popularity. The return of Yuan's family to the market has also dealt a heavy blow to everyone. He's family. Hirunkai was numb as he watched the hot scenes on the video and the data reported by major anchors. He never thought that one day the Yuan family would be able to make a comeback. Moreover, the momentum is still so strong that it can't be stopped. If it continues like this, the Zheng family will soon be unable to stop it, right? Hirunkai showed a helpless look. If the Murong family does not hand over people within 3 days, then they will have a reason to deal with the Murong family, and then deal with the Yuan family. However, he showed a trace of worry. Can we really wait until 2 days later? Zheng family. Master, Zinfadi no longer wholesales vegetables from us. Zheng Wenjun's face froze slightly. In addition, Xiaoguang said that after purchasing the last batch of vegetables according to the contract, it will not renew the contract. Zheng Wenjun's fingers tightly grasped the cup. Jinhua Agricultural Products Wholesale Market also said that it would no longer cooperate with the Zheng family. Shenzhen Buji Agricultural Products Center Wholesale Market also said that it would stop cooperating with them. Jiangnan Fruits and Vegetables, Qingdao Chenyang, Red Star Agricultural and Sideline Products, Nanjing Farmer Agricultural and Sideline Products, also said that after the last cooperation, they would not renew the contract with the Zheng family. Zheng Wenjun smashed the teacup. The entire Zheng family was as quiet as a cicada. In just one day, 8 of the top 10 vegetable wholesale markets in the country said they would terminate their cooperation. What does this mean? It means that the Zheng family's losses in the future will start at least tens of billions. One day, just one day. Master, do you want to notify the master? Zheng Wenjun's sharp eyes swept over, but thinking of the situation, he had a headache again. Do you really have to tell your father? Master, it's not good. Another group of people came outside. Zheng Wenjun's eyelids twitched, but he still remained calm and said, "What's the matter?" The Xianyuan family and the Situ family said that from now on, they will no longer order vegetables from the Zheng family, the man in a short-sleeved shirt said with a stiff face. At the same time, there are 23 medium-sized wholesale markets that also said that they will not renew the contract after the expiration of this cooperation. In addition, more than 70% of the ordering platforms in the capital have said, starting tomorrow, they will gradually reduce the purchase of Zheng's vegetables. Bang! Zheng Wenjun overturned the table on the spot. The man was so scared that he dared not speak. Zheng Wenjun's eyes were gloomy as if he wanted to kill someone. You are so good, Yuan Jiahao, you are so good, Yuan family. Zheng Wenjun had never been so angry in his life. The Yuan family, which was easily crushed by the Zheng family, dared to provoke openly. It was simply looking for death. Immediately start the emergency filing. Release new products. Master, you must not do that. The plan is not mature yet, and there are certain hidden dangers. The master explained before he left that unless it is fully mature. Zheng Wenjun interrupted coldly, now I am the head of the Zheng family. But. No buts, do it immediately.